Alrighty, hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Serving Nerve, where we talk about whatever we want, and today we are going to be going through more dating as a fat person. Dating as a fat woman, to be particular. And yeah, so we're gonna get into this. We did do a little bit of this before, and we're gonna do a little bit of this now. So yeah, we'll see where this goes, and let's just get into it. Alrighty, my people, I just want to interject that I do have a Patreon, and I do want to point out that if you want to support the channel, there is exclusive content on there, and I upload once a week. So yeah, if you want to check it out and support the channel, cool. If not, then let's get on with the video. When men don't have their money together, they date big girls. Okay, interesting.
Listen to this.
When the men are not financially confident, that's who they run to, the bigger girls. Because most big girls are going to have good credit, have some money, and be able to help take care of them.
And cook.
The bigger woman says, help.
I don't know who besides her needs to hear this, but fat women, big women, whatever you want to call us, we're not desperate for time, we're not desperate for sex, we're not desperate for affection, we're not desperate for attention, we're not desperate for men. Like, let's be real, I curve more men than I entertain.
This, in my opinion, is a little bit of a problem that I see because I know that there's a girl on a podcast saying, this is what bigger women have. They're more financially stable, they can provide more. I don't know how legit that is. I think that the podcast insinuates bigger women are more likely to be taken advantage of financially by men because they're more desperate. That's what I get from the podcast behind this girl. And then from this girl, I get something contradictive. Hey, I'm a bigger girl, and bigger girls in general do not have a desperate perception towards men. They're not desperate. But the problem I have with both of these women is that they're generalizing bigger women. And at the end of the day, I just don't think that's accurate. Like, I can believe if the girl on the podcast has dealt with this before, if she knows people who've dealt with this before. And I can also, like, agree if this girl's had, an experience where she's like, I'm not desperate, I can get all the dick I want, blah, blah, blah. I'm not desperate as a fat girl. And then you can kind of add your perception to what would be considered a stereotype, because a lot of people, including myself, do perceive fatter girls in the dating world to be more desperate in the wake of dating and hookups and blah, blah, blah. That's my perception. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I think that if you have a harder time scoring, then guess what? You're probably gonna be more desperate. I think a lot of people have this situation. I think a lot of guys have the same situation. A lot of people that are just not considered societally ideal or attractive, I think a lot more of them are going to be more desperate. But when I see these two, the generalizations are pretty thick. And then when I also look at some of my own perceptions, I'm also generalizing a little bit. But I would say it's better to look at things on an individualized basis, because I don't know how much on average a fat girl is going to make versus somebody who's not fat. I also don't know how much a woman is going to be putting towards a, dating or a relationship situation financially. Like, I don't know how much. And then I also don't know what this girl's gone through. But I would just say there's so much generalization in this mix of TikTok. I don't really believe either side. I really don't. Not gonna lie, my people.
And I know a lot of thin women who go way harder and do way more for men than I do. And in her own words, if a lot of fat women have our own money and our own cribs and have good credit, that doesn't sound like a man lowering his standards for me. It sounds like him choosing a woman who has her shit together. Being fat doesn't scream help. It screams like, can you even handle this though? All I know is men don't desire me because they think I'm going to take care of them. They desire me and admire me because when I walk in a room, I take up space and I'm confident and I'm a big bad bitch.
That's the thing. That's the important factor here, is the confidence key. If you're not confident, whether you're skinny or you're fat, you're going to be more likely to be taken advantage of, bend the knee more. You're going to be more willing to do things that maybe you don't want to do because you want people to like you. You want people to love you. But if you're confident in yourself, no matter what you look like this girl who's proclaiming to be confident, I think confidence is key. I've had instances of time where I've operated not as a confident person and as a confident person. And when you're confident, you are just perceived as more capable in every regard. So I actually agree with this 100%. I think that it's bad to generalize, though. I also do actually like what this girl has to say about confidence. It's very important, especially in the dating world, for both men and women.
Like, it's 2022. It shouldn't be shocking that fat women are admired sexually and romantically. Like, if a BB dub took your man, just say that. But what do I know? I'm just a desperate big bitch.
See, I also hate that. That's bad. Like, the whole insinuation of, somebody scoring another person's man, that's why you're bitter or whatever. That's bad. And I think that that's kind of like femcel vibes. Like, I don't know why I hear that so often, but the I'm gonna steal your man vibe is so scuzzy. You don't want to be somebody's sloppy seconds. Like, You do not want to be somebody's like fail-safe. It's not hot. It's more belittlement to you than anybody else. You're not stealing somebody's man. You're being the pawn that somebody jumps to when they get bored of somebody. It's gross. It's not good to be like cheating material or like drop material.
Don't get mad at me, but I've noticed that the thinner girls, the more conventionally attractive girls, when they're talking about how they got into a relationship, how they got a boyfriend, they're like allowed to be silly, funny jokester on their dating profile. And the guys still take them seriously. And they still take them on dates, and they still get into relationships with them. When the big girls try to do it, the guys just are gross. Like, they're just vile. And they turn whatever, like, lighthearted, silly thing you're trying to do into just being fucking gross.
I don't know, man. I've been on a lot of dating apps, and I've been funnier and less funny on the dating apps, and I've done funny things in pictures and stuff or whatever, and I've run into a ton of gross people, and I haven't been obese or whatever. So I think it just depends on how bad your humor is, because mine's shit. And that's how I usually get shit. Just to make a note, if your humor is gross, or you make sex jokes, you're gonna attract gross people who really like sex. That's my opinion. I think that if you make like a cute, quirky, like, oh, here's a teddy bear, look, it looks like this anime character or whatever, then you're gonna get somebody who's like a weeb or something at worst. I don't know. The fact that we're generalizing the way people look with something as subjective as humor when we don't know what the humor is that we're talking about, it's kind of different. Like, I do not think that people are doing the same thing across all profiles. I think everybody's doing something different, and some things work better than other things. Dating as a fat girl is rough.
Okay, I'm about to have a first date, and it's like a guy that I met online. I'm just gonna talk about something really fast just because I was talking to a skinny friend of mine, and I don't think it's ever happened to her. Whenever I go on like a first date with somebody I've met online, I am so nervous, and I try so hard. I'll post at some point like what my photos are on my online profiles because I try so hard to make sure that they know I'm fat. I don't want it to be a question. I don't want it to be a surprise. I try really hard for them to know. I was talking to a friend about this, and she was like, oh my god, has somebody ever like said that? And like, I can think of a solid 2 to 3 times that someone has like gone and like showed up on the date and they say something along the lines of, wow, it's like, you look different than I thought you would. Or one guy that I slept with, and then messaged me afterwards and said, you know what, I think that you just look different than I thought in person.
That is super lame. Personally, I wouldn't sleep with anyone who doesn't give me, like, the time of day. But at the end of the day, this is gross, and yeah, I don't know. I think that some girls probably would deal with a little bit of this. Like, they're uglier than they come off in their photos, or they have makeup on in the photos, and then they don't have as much makeup on, and then, like, the guy's like, you look different, like, you're catfishing me, that kind of vibe. But I've never dealt with this before. I haven't, I won't lie. I've never dealt with this before because it's like, I don't wear makeup, and I am also not fat. So, like, I don't know, but that's crazy. And also, going on a date and being super nervous is completely understandable, especially if you either have a bad reputation of dating and dating all these scumbags and losers and creeps, or if you don't go on dates often and, like, it's something you're not versed with. That is also, like, the potential issue there. But yeah, but I don't know, man. I just think it sucks. It does suck.
After we slept together.
Well, yeah, you gotta stick it in first. I mean, like, that's the rule. That's how a ton of guys operate. It's like, as soon as the post-nut clarity kicks in, then you can think critically about if you want to spend the rest of your life with this girl. But before then, all you're thinking about is how to get your rocks off. Especially in the subset of the dating world, the dating app world. Like, not in real life, but in weird dating app territory. Usually only weirdos go on dating apps, and people that try to find a non-weirdo on a dating app because they're not a weirdo, they usually give up after, like, 6 months.
Anyway, every time I'm about to go for a date, I am terrified. So, can you tell that I'm fat? Can you?
Personally, I think she looks really good. Like, she's not super disproportionate. She looks like she can go out and do whatever. Go out, like, walk around, like, do normal things. Like, that's the thing. It's like she's just not considered, like, you know, super skinny or like a normal weight or whatever. I know we talk about being overweight and stuff and how that's bad, but at the end of the day, in the dating world, you know, we're not getting into like weird fat acceptance stuff. We're just talking about being a dateable fat chick. I think that she looks great and blah, 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 and whatever. Confidence boosts galore. But the one thing I have to say is, like, if you are taking photos and you make them, like, even as normal as possible, photos always make you look disproportionate. When you're taking photos a lot of the time they just never look like the way that you look in real life. You'll either look skinnier, you'll look fatter, you'll look more shapeless, you won't have the right, like, angles of your face. Like, everything looks weird in photos. They try to capture everything, but at some point, like, things just don't look right. Same thing with people looking really good in their photos, like guys. You know, I've seen guys that have, like, abs in their photos, and then in real life, they ain't got no abs, trust me. So it's just all bullshit. Like, everybody just tries to catfish one another and, like, look as good as possible in the photos to entice somebody on a date, and then, like, cover that shit up. But, like, I don't know. I think she looks fine.
Because I'm trying really hard to not freak out about the fact that, like, he could show up and be disappointed about what I look like. I know it's said all the time, especially on this app, I guess it depends who you're following, but, like, dating as a fat woman is incredibly stressful, and it's also just difficult and hurtful 99% of the time. Anyway, we'll see how this goes. I don't know.
That really does suck. Like, I've met a ton of weirdos on dating apps, so personally, I'm like, okay, I get it. I get it. It sucks. Like, dating apps, terrible, all right? But, like, I'm sure having the extra barrier of maybe not being considered societally ideal will also perpetuate you to have an additional level of stress pertaining to your own, like, self more than what the person that you're meeting is going to be like. But who knows?
There's at least one male friend that you have that has suppressed his feelings for you.
Unless you're fat, and then you have a long list of men who used you and manipulated you into an emotional connection where you helped them through all of their bullshit, and they, in turn, ghosted you when they found something younger and hotter to fuck, okay?
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. This is femcel vibes. This is incel vibes. This is incel gains, bro. Like, this is, you know, like, I need the shirt for this. One sec, guys. This is what this is, dudes. This is all that this is, okay? I can't help myself. When I see somebody acting like an incel, I just can't help myself, alright? Alrighty, that's better. You know, as soon as we start hearing the fucking incels and femcels coming out, that's when we know to put on the hoodie. When it comes to all of this, you can be in a situation where the person just doesn't know what they want, or you misinterpret what they want. And you might think like, oh yeah, they love me, they want a relationship with me, you know, they treat me this way, they do this stuff, and then they don't actually like you like that. And then you get bitter about it because it's like, oh my god, they're going out with somebody hotter than me, they're going out with somebody cooler than me, whatever the case is, and then you feel like you've gotten like the bad end of the stick. Even if they fuck you, like, you can be in this situation. Like, it could be a friends with benefits situation, or, I don't know, a flirtationship or something. And like, if you don't like it, get over it. Like, have a discussion. Have a formal discussion about what this person wants. And if they just lie to you blatantly, then yeah, makes sense. But at the end of the day, I think a lot of people just misinterpret what people say or how people act, and then they think like, oh, this person likes me, when they really don't. I've been in this situation before. I've had boys, I'm not kidding, boys carry me, bridal style out of a pool, cuddle with me for hours, compliment me on my looks, like, say very kind and, you know, lovely things to me and want to spend time with me and want to hang out. And then I'll tell them that I have feelings for them, and then they're like, oh, well, I didn't mean it that way. And it's like, well, then they just want, like, a weird flirtationship or something. Like, and if you don't like it, deal with it. Drop them. Like, it's not that deep. Like, you can do better is the thing. But yeah, in my opinion, these are the people that are just more socially inept. I'm not trying to be a jerk. Maybe she's right, but I really just don't believe it. I think it's just like, you fucked up with your perception of what this relationship or this situation was. Or you insinuated something that was illegitimate, or they insinuated something that was illegitimate. You didn't talk about it, you didn't elaborate on it, and now you're in this situation where they, you know, end up going to something else. Even if you are the shoulder for them to cry on, you know, like, some people just want you to be their friend. It's not all about fucking. Like, I don't know, man. I just think this is cringe.
I'm looking at you, Brandon, Dylan, Joe, Kyle, and...
Totally cringe. Listing off names, cringe. Being in this situation, cringe. Life, cringe. Dating, cringe. Apps, cringe. Everything is cringe. And that's why we need to get those incel gains. I've gotten some incel gains over the years. Pretty nice. But anyways, tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? What do you think about the other? What do you think about dating apps? What do you think about dating as a fat chick? Is it easy? Is it hard? Are people more likely to be desperate or no? Like, well, what do you think it is? Like, what do you think all of this is? And yeah, that's the video. So I hope y'all enjoyed, and tell me what you think in the comments below, my people. It has been lovely. Slater.